Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here on this Friday. First Alert Digital News Desk, talking about the safety desk, stories we covered throughout the work week. And a few of them are really important, especially because they're local. We've got some homeowners who are preparing for a flood, just making sure everything's on there correctly. We've got lots to get to this morning. So talking about the flood watches this morning, and then planning a flight. If you are, I want to tell you about an airfare scam and canceled flight scams too. Lots going on there with the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau giving us some tips this week, really helpful. Also, 2 police officers in Green Bay have a really close call after a dump truck passed them on the highway as they were helping somebody. And you have to remember that move over law in Wisconsin. So we'll talk about that. Some of these stories this morning were really important, especially with the First Alert Weather Day in place. So we'll start there with some of those tips, again, as people are preparing for possible flooding. You never know. So I do have some information for you this morning. And again, all of these stories, as I normally say, are at wbay.com. So this is all about preparedness. So our Emily Roberts was out there live talking about this too with the flood watches there. Meteorologist Bo Fogel was talking about the chances. You know, we do have such saturated ground right now that officials are concerned, but they are preparing, and they want you to do your part and prepare as well. So staying safe before an emergency, first and foremost, check into whether or not you would benefit from flood insurance in your home. Not all home insurance covers that, so something to look into, but also looking at your home and making sure that you're securing everything, that outdoor furniture, and elevating and anchoring utilities, so things like electrical panels, propane tanks, any sockets that are in the way as well. And then you'll also want to do a household inventory, taking photos and videos of anything that's really important to you, major household items, any big valuables that you really care about. That's really important because that's what you would use for your insurance claim if you were to file that. Again, this is all about being prepared. It doesn't hurt. And then have an emergency kit packed in case you do need to leave your home quickly. Listen to those evacuation orders if that ever is a thing. And then tune into Action 2 News and First Alert Weather. Our meteorologists are constantly keeping you up to date as far as what's going on. And once again, it is a First Alert Weather Day, so stay tuned for that. The app is actually pretty helpful. I think I have a screenshot of it. It is free, both on the Apple App Store, Google Play, if you have an Android. Really helpful. Get that First Alert Weather app, and you can customize it for you to get certain push alerts. Really, really helpful, especially this time of year. It is severe weather season, so we are preparing for even some more storms today into the weekend. So something to track for sure with our First Alert meteorologists. So that was a pretty important story that we had today. And then to that flight scam story that I wanted to talk about, another really important one from Wisconsin Better Business Bureau, and all of the tips and all the ins and outs of this airfare flight scam is on wbay.com. So scammers basically cashing in on summer travel season, as they always do, but we're worried about canceled flights and scammers taking advantage of them, targeting people even here in Northeast Wisconsin. So the Better Business Bureau has a warning, and I've got some information there, but they're taking advantage of people by fabricating flight cancellation notices. That's one. Be on alert because they may trick you into contacting customer service, and we have quotes around it because it's not actually customer service. So the BBB says it received multiple reports of scammers creating these fake airline ticket booking websites or customer service numbers to charge you, the traveler, for rescheduling a flight. So what you should know is that the scam itself, while searching maybe for cheaper flights, you come across what looks like a great deal. That's kind of the first red flag, but you never know. You book the flight through a website or by calling a customer support number, but shortly after you make that payment, you'll get a call from a quote-unquote company saying there's a sudden price increase or some extra charge. The BBB says a legitimate company would never do that. They will never call you to do that. So there's also a similar con that goes along with this. You might have booked a legitimate real flight, but you'll receive a cancellation notice. The cancellation notice is fake, and it urges you to take action to put you right into the scammer's hands. So you don't want to do that. There's lots of good tips like doing your research. We say this every single time. It is so important to do your research on companies that you've never dealt with. Double check flight details before calling customer support, and you'll definitely want to confirm the URL of a website before you're actually putting in any personal information or your payment. And speaking of payment, if you do want to pay online, if you have a credit card, that is the best bet, because if there are any fraudulent charges, usually the company will help you dispute that. So really important tips this morning, and another great story that we had from the First Alert Safety Desk this week. Another one is the move over law reminder. So Green Bay Police sent me this video that is on Wbay.com. That's just a screenshot of it. But again, you can take a look at it if you want. But the details are even more important, I would say, because it is a good reminder. Drivers being reminded to move over or at least slow down, because these two officers had a pretty scary close call out on Highway 41. If I remember correctly, actually 43. It was I-43. The area was, let's see, this was earlier this week. So it was 43 in the northbound lanes near North Webster Avenue. So there were two squad cars in that area, and a dump truck was able to move over for the first squad car that it saw, but it didn't for the second. And so it was a really scary close call for those officers. And again, reminding you to move over. It is Wisconsin law to move over when you see those police lights, you see those first responders or anyone, emergency personnel on the side of the highway, move over. We've seen way too many close encounters and deaths here in Wisconsin too. So another good lesson and reminder. So we want to thank Green Bay Police for sending that our way. All the stories at WBY.com. We can check it out right here by going in, and then that safety desk tab that we always talk about. So there's that story about homeowners getting ready before a flood. And then another one that I had today was this recall with 600,000, nearly 600,000 portable chargers sold at Costco because of a fire risk. And that's a picture of the charger right here. You'll want to stop using that. And if you think you might have that, check that story out. And then we talked about some local beaches under health advisories. We've had so much rain in the forecast recently that is stirring some things up out there on our waterways, and we are seeing elevated levels of E. coli in parts of our waterways. So take a look at that. We do have a link in case you want to head out once the weather does get better. You can check that out and make sure that it's safe swimming for you and your family. Another really important story from the First Alert Safety Desk, and all the other ones that we've covered this week. Health experts discussing bird flu safety was a good story. There's that move over law story. So go ahead and check that out. We have so many stories that we've been covering from the First Alert Safety Desk. If you have any ideas too on things going on in the community, we always say come to us. I have a Facebook page, and you can let me know if there's a safety concern in the community. Otherwise, those are the big stories that we covered this week, and next Friday we'll go through some of the stories that we touched on this coming week. Make sure that you're staying safe this weekend with that rain and any flooding. Make sure you're doing preparedness, especially if you're in a high flood risk area. Look into that story. I think it's really important, especially if you're a homeowner. If you have any questions, all of that information is right there on WBAY.com. 8:43 this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend.